Austin, definitely. So yeah, so when I was playing in San Antonio, I lived in Austin, where my dad currently still lives, and that town just had it all between music, food, weather, everything. It was just great, but it was a nice, easy drive from Austin down 35 to San Antonio. So it was just good couple locations to be at, and it was a pretty solid year. So maybe someday I'll make my way back to Texas, but that's as far as all the places I've lived. Yeah, Austin's the best. The variety, we'll put it that way. That kind of encompasses everything. There's always something to do, and having a musical background, that was like ground zero for just some of the best flavors and musicians and all the styles out there. So a place like that is just hard to find, where you can just go from any location, restaurant, to bar to nightclub, and just have great varieties of music, but especially the Southern rock influence there, where Stevie Ray Vaughan came from, just being able to soak that all in. And that's when I really started getting interested in guitar. That's when I got my first electric guitar, was when I was living in Austin, and kind of got that passion developed. So I think just the musical aspect is what really flourished while I was down there. But between going out to the Greenbelt River, the all the different little shops and restaurants there, everything just yeah, it's an awesome place again. Well, let's see. From the San Antonio Diablos that season, I think my favorite moments there was just more of a accumulation of two games. I just, as a goaltender, getting a shutouts, kind of like what you're always shooting for. That was the first season where I ever had back-to-back games that were both shutouts. And then, if memory serves correct, going into the third game, it wasn't until the third period that actually then got scored on. So it was something like 8 straight periods. But favorite hockey memory altogether was the year before, when my travel team from Northern Virginia, we went to the USA Hockey Nationals. In the skills competition that we were in, I was obviously in the goalie category, and through all the preliminary events, fastest skating time, most shots blocked in various situations, me and this other goalie tied. So we went to a breakaway competition head-to-head. And finally, after about 16 rounds, I gave up the first goal and he won. And afterwards, a real nice guy came up and talked to me, introduced himself to me. And then I later realized, watching the Washington Capitals play a few years later, that his name was Jonathan Quick, and he's won the Stanley Cup twice now. Conn Smythe for best playoff player. He was the USA Hockey goalie for the last couple Olympics, excluding this previous one that didn't allow the NHL players in. So I'm like, all right, well, held my own toe-to-toe against the future best goalie in America. So that was kind of one of those, just one of the biggest stages I've ever been on. And it was like, all right, maybe I'm not that terrible, but it was fun. But eventually all good things had to come to an end. It was time to hang up the skates. There's been a few, for certain, and a lot of times, there's so many where it just comes down to someone comes in pain, and whether it's just doing an extraction or root canal, getting them out of that, and they just love you for it. But probably the biggest fulfilling moments you get when someone comes in and you just redo their smile. Because what people don't realize is just how much you take for granted, just being able to smile. You experience something enjoyable, and you smile. It's just a natural response. If you are very self-conscious about how your teeth look, then you force yourself to stop smiling, which then cascades into, you don't allow yourself to really feel joy and happiness because you're afraid you're going to smile, which then is going to show off something on your teeth that you're not proud to show. So it just has this huge negative effect. So when you can give someone that ability back to smile again without having to feel anything self-conscious about it, that just really changes their whole personality. So it's when you do something like that for someone, then you see them again, and now their hair's done, they're dressing nicer, the skin, everything about them is just glowing. So you've made a really big impact on them. And I've been fortunate able to have done that a numerous amount of times, and it's always very gratifying just to have that kind of impact on someone's overall well-being. Yeah, it comes down to just being able to help those who financially can't normally afford our services. Their teeth ache and hurt just the same as anybody else's, but unfortunately they don't have the means to do something about it. And so when we can do these volunteer projects, like when we do Dentistry from the Heart, I've done a lot of Mission and Mercy projects, Hope for Tomorrow, and things like that, that just really, those people are just so appreciative, even if it's just a matter of just taking out one tooth or doing one filling, and just giving that time back to the community. I mean, I've been really blessed and really lucky to be able to do what I can, and I don't take it for granted any day. And so doing stuff like that is just the least that I can do, and hopefully I can, throughout my career, I can do more of it and just make a nice accumulation of experiences, helping a lot of people out there who really do appreciate the service. Man, something along the lines of you make your own fate. That was actually something one of my teammates' dads came in the locker room and told us one time before like a championship game. And I still remember, it was just something along the lines of, destiny doesn't control you, you control it. And I really am a firm believer that you can either just give up and just say, hey, it just wasn't meant to happen, it just wasn't for me, or you can do something about it. And I feel like a lot of aspects of our life and the path you can go down to, you have at least somewhat of an influence on it, that you can steer your way into the direction that you want. And so it's just not being, willing to just say, hey, this is my lot in life, do something about it. My grades were never anything special. I came out of high school thinking I was just going to play professional hockey, never studied. College was a rude awakening when I decided I wanted to do something academically focused, such as going to dental school. And it took a lot of hard work and pounding my head against the wall trying to figure out, how do I get through this maze? What do I have to do differently? And I just think that, someone like me who really had there's nothing special about me, and I'm not smarter than anybody else, but I work hard and I figured out how to get through scenarios, and I feel like if I can do it, anyone has that capacity. So it's shape your destiny and do it till you make it. The atmosphere that is conducive to meeting people and talking to them. That's the best thing about my job, is just the conversations I get to have. Meeting someone for the first time, whether it's a hygiene check or in one of my operatories, just seeing what they're doing, what are they up to, learning from their experiences. Just, again, as people, we're social creatures, and variety is the spice of life. Learning from others' experiences, using that to enrich your own. That's probably the best part, is we just really encourage everyone on the staff to get to know your patients, never treat a stranger, see what's interesting about them and how that can enrich yourself. That's easily, hands down, the best part.